Welcome back to the Mama Kid Show. I am Daniel, one of the kids.
I am Damien, the other kid.
And I'm Araceli, the mom. And today
we have our second Bible study.
of the year. We're studying Genesis. We were supposed to do a book a week. That's not happening. So last week we got to Genesis. We did 1 through 14. And today we are starting at 15. Chapter 15 in Genesis. And just seeing what God speaks to us. So, let's start right in.
Let's
jump right in.
Oh, also, we have food.
Yeah, we have snacks.
As you can see on your screen.
We have like a little popcorn bowl.
Chapter 15. So, we've talked about how, the beginning. We talked about Noah and we talked about Abram. Did we even get to Abram?
Yes.
Yeah, last week?
I don't think so.
Let's see, chapter 14. Yeah. It was after Abram left. God did something good.
Yeah. So Abram has left and they have separated, right? They had Lot and him have separated. And he didn't even accept anything. He said, I'm not going to accept anything from the king.
Him.
From the king when
was
he returned.
Isaac already born?
No. Not yet. And so he says, I will not take anything lest you say that you made me rich. So we are in chapter 15. And even the first word in chapter 15 stopped me.
God's covenant.
No, that's the title. God's covenant with Abraham. But the first word is chapter 15, verse 1 says, after these things, the word of the Lord came to Abraham in a vision. And I was thinking, okay, after. So he had to have done something that after that, that's whenever God shows up, right? God talks to him.
Mm-hmm.
But this brought me back to, I had to go back and I had to revisit chapter, is it 14? When he gets the instructions, where is it? No, it took me back to actually chapter 12. Because in chapter 12 is whenever God tells them what to do.
Leave your family.
He says, get out of your country. That's the first thing, then comma. Get out of your country. Get out of your... So in my mind is, if he's saying after so-and-so and so-and-so, after these things were done, then God talks to him. But remember, God gave him instructions. So he told them, get out of your country. And I was like, why country? Why get out of your country? And it's actually like move away from what you're familiar. Move away from the systems that you know. From the people. From you grow up in, the culture, society, everything that you have to move away. Everything that you know, you have to move away from it.
You have to unlearn or be around things that you've learned so that God can teach you new things.
Yes. So it's like a reset. So he says, get out of your country. And it says, so that would be, what's familiar systems, what you grew up with. Then from your family. And the research that I was doing is from those beliefs. Let me see if I wrote them. From the beliefs from the people that have poured into you your identity. So those who have if teachers, if parents, if whatever, those people around you have told you you're this, you're that, your character, anything like that, God wanted Abraham away from all of that. He wanted a clean slate. So he's trying to move him away from anything that's familiar. He's moving him away from the expectations people had from him, like what people were wanting him to be. And then it says, and from your father's home. Well, he's already told him to move out of the family, move away from the family. Why does he repeat, and from your father's home? Like he's adding to that. So those are the beliefs that you have. Where you find safety, where you find what you think of money, what you think of how to be happy. God's telling Abraham, hey, move away from all of this. And then those are the three things that he needs to do, that he needs to move away from. And then it says, to a land that I will show you. He doesn't even tell him where he's taking him. He's just telling him, hey,
I'll show you.
I'm going to take you to a land and I will show you it.
Just wait, you'll see.
Yeah. Then it says, I will make you a great nation. It says, that's like God speaking, like, this is what I'm going to do. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you. And make your name great. And as a transition, he says, I'm going to do this. And your name's going to be great. So God's like saying, like, isn't that like so beautiful and amazing that God's like, I'm going to do this for you. And your name will be great. And you will be like, people will see you. And you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. And I will curse him who curses you.
And what chapter is this in?
Chapter 12. I think that's something to take in, to say that he's going to take care of the people that bless you and he's going to take care of the people that curse you. We don't have to do anything about what people say, about what people think about us.
We shouldn't do anything.
God's going to do it. Like he's already telling Abram, don't worry. I'm going to I'm going to take care of that. You don't have to worry about what they say. So, and then it says, and then that he'll be a blessing. Let me see. So I know we know we don't have a direction of where he's going. And let me see what else I wrote. The thing is, like we talked about last week, he doesn't separate from Lot. He doesn't separate. He takes his family with him, and he's still carrying like that, those beliefs that are shared. He still has someone like that he's looking to make decisions with it, and it's Lot. And God's like, and God doesn't speak to him until he does speak to him once. So we have God telling Abraham, hey, I'm going to make you great. You're going to have a lot of descendants. But then Abraham takes Lot with him. And the time that God speaks to Abram says, to your descendants, I will give them this land. He's telling him to your descendants. He's not even taking into account Abraham anymore. So it's like, I'm not going to talk to you direct. Like, I'm going to tell you your descendants. And it's not until he leaves and he separates from Lot.
I noticed he repeated it, but I didn't notice he changed the words. Like,
he changed.
I will give you this land.
Yes. He doesn't say that. He just says to your descendants.
After.
Can you imagine? Abraham has left everything he knows. He's out. He doesn't know where he's going. But he's taken action because he leaves. Takes Lot. And then all of a sudden God's like, to your descendants, I will leave this. Like he's like, not even to you anymore. So in God, in Abraham's mind, I mean, I imagine there had to be a lot of
like, bro, what'd I come out?
Like, what's going on? What am I supposed to be doing? And we're still, I had to go back to chapter 12 because it's so important that Abram leaves, he takes Lot with him. But then his first test is that there's famine. He's going through, there's no food. So what does Abram do? He doesn't ask God what he has to do. He just decides he needs to go to Egypt. So he goes to Egypt.
Is this after he leaves Lot?
No, this is he's still with Lot. So he goes to Egypt and he tells, I always thought, because it says Abram was righteous and God spoke to him, that Abram was like this, I don't know, I just saw him differently. Like he was
Good. Like,
not good,
like
but
he
like
was
really
like,
strong in faith. And so when I was reading this and making sense of it all, he goes to Egypt and he tells Sarah, his wife, hey, you need to lie for me. You need to tell them that I'm your brother, not your husband, because they'll kill me. But he goes to Egypt because it's what? Safety. They have systems. They have food. They have everything that he thinks he needs. So he wasn't even that ready for everything that God had for him. And so it just gives us permission to know that even though we know we have a calling, that we're still probably going to mess up. That God's still going to meet us in that place, and that he still is going to show us, and he's still going to guide us.
that's good.
So we have Abram. He then after he comes, so Abram is calling. He called out to God once, but he was still moving. And that's whenever God talked to him and told him, to your descendants, I'm going to show them this land. But he's still carrying law. He builds an altar. He leaves from there to Egypt. In Egypt, he lies. He comes back. He does
that twice, doesn't he? Tells Sarah to lie.
I don't know. I think it's just once that.
No, because once he gets away with it, and then the second time, later, he doesn't get away with it because, and then the like king of Egypt.
Say yes, but
King
I
of
can't
Egypt
remember.
is like, why'd you tell us that, man? Like we could have gotten in trouble with God.
I think we're still not there, but I think you're right. I think there's two times that he does. He does do that.
All right, continue.
Let me see. Hold up. Let me see my notes. Okay, Abraham separates from Lot. So at this, whenever Abraham separates, he's choosing. He's like, okay, I can't do this. I want peace, because remember, they're kind of like fighting about their flocks and all of this, their animals. And so he's choosing peace. He's saying, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm choosing to trust. I'm choosing to follow what God said. And then it's after Abram settles. So Abram comes back to where he heard God. So he hears, whenever he comes out from his father's home, there's this place that God calls to him and tells them, to your descendants. But Abram continues on. He's still searching. He's still trying to figure it out. He lands in Egypt. He lies. And then he comes back. And you were telling me the other day, we'll share, what's going on with us. We're moving out of our lease, and we're going back to where, we were before we came to this house. And you were, well, maybe God didn't want us to move. And it's that idea that maybe we did move because we were trying to search for that peace, for that quietness, for that comfortableness, for that. And it was what we knew provided a house, and us having each of us having rooms. But it's now we're going back, and it's to that same place, and I just think it's just so crazy how Abram had to come back. And when he comes back, he's like surrendered. He falls on his face, and he's like he calls on the name of God. And I don't know, I think that's just awesome that you get to go back also sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with you moving back when you're about to be catapulted.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine Abraham, like, again, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? Like, he come back out of, again, something that he knows, and he knows how it works. And he's like, okay, now what? Because he hasn't heard from God. God hasn't showed him much more than the land that he's going to give to his descendants.
I like that analogy. I don't know if it's widely hearing this for the first time, but you said there's nothing wrong with going back when you're being catapulted.
Like,
That's
if we
good.
just stay in the same spot, we're not really gonna go far.
Yeah, because if you think, how do you get catapulted?
Go back,
You have to go back.
or I don't know. I mean, for a slingshot maybe, but
Yeah,
Sling, you go.
but even a
go
catapult, like, you go back, and you might feel like you're starting from zero, you're starting again, but sometimes that's what is needed to move forward. And so he goes back, he's wealthy and all that, and it's not until he he calls on the name of God. And I know we talked a little bit about this, that they started calling on the name of God, but it doesn't say they called on God. They called on the name of God. They called on who God is, his
what he stands for.
what he stands for, his characters. And it was until then that Abraham starts, and it says that he fell on his he fell on his
Is this 12 still?
I think this is 13. Yeah, it's well, no, on 13 he says that he tells them, they've separated, lift your eyes up and you see everything that I have for you. And then he tells them, arise, go. And so we talked to all of that. And then on 15,
14 or 15?
we're on 15 now. Let me see my notes. Hold up. Okay. Yeah, 15. So 15, after all of these things, after these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, do not be afraid. I don't think I've seen do not be afraid before this. Even to Adam and Eve. It does not tell them, hey, don't be afraid. God like kind of knows. Hey, I know you're in fear. I know you don't know what's going on. But it's like, do not be afraid. And this is a huge thing. He says, do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward. That's the first time God says who he is. Up until now,
He's never said I am.
God has not said I am. God hasn't told them he's their God. God hasn't told them who, like, they're calling on someone that they have had a relationship with, or they have heard, or I don't know how, like, what other ways that.
Going back to what you just said earlier, they called on the name of the Lord because God hadn't said who he was. And here God's revealing, he says, I am your shield.
I am your shield and your exceedingly great reward. This is the first time he's saying who he is. And he's saying, hey, Abram, you've been looking and searching. I am who you're searching for. I am your reward. I am all these things that you've been doing. Like, I am who is the one that you're looking for and who you're wanting to have the relationship.
Is this before? No, this is after Abram denies all the gifts from the king of Egypt, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he denies it. He denies them. And right before the end of chapter 14. And so whenever people are chasing those businesses, chasing that success, chasing that money, it's just a reminder that we have already made it. We are already successful. We are already in abundance because God is our reward.
That's good.
And so we have fear is named for the first time. And he only does it because Abraham is not ready to hear what God has to tell him. Remember, God has not told him much. He's just told him, you need to go to the land that I'm going to show you. You need to, and I will bless you, and I will do this, and I will do, and you will be this, all these things. But he hasn't really told him what's going to happen, right?
I feel like God just says like what he needs to say, really.
Well, he won't give you what you're not ready for.
Like he just doesn't give you extra words.
Well, what do you mean?
Like
He's very intentional with his words.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like he uses very few words whenever he's talking.
Yeah,
But his words have a lot of power.
true. Yep. It is true. I wrote down that God reveals, because Abram is ready
When
to
does he say, "I am your shield"?
chapter 15, verse
2.
1.
Wait,
Oh,
what
and
was
then
that?
later in 7, he says, "Then he said to him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Chaldeans." Oh, the Chaldeans.
Yeah. One last thing before we move on is that fear is actually like, it is the first time it says do not be afraid, but it's whenever we are open to what we fear, that moment when you're like, you know what, I'm really afraid of not knowing what's going to happen. I'm really afraid of not being able to pay my bills. Instead of like struggling and trying and just, getting anxious and stuff, just that moment whenever you're just like, I am afraid. I am afraid of not providing. I am afraid of not getting an A on my test, or not passing my exam. I am afraid of not getting that job. And even in that moment, fear loses all its power. Because when you name it, when you say, hey, this is what I have, like this is where I'm at, it just loses its power. And at this moment, Abram's like, because he says, Lord God, what will you give me, seeing I go childless? And the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. He's like saying, like, God, I am afraid. I can't see how you're going to do this for me. So it's in those moments I encourage you that just name that fear. Just be like, I am afraid, so and so, and that loses power. Okay. Okay.
Chapter 15. This is really cool. It says in verse 12. Now, when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and behold, horror and great darkness fell upon him. Then he said to Abram, know certainly that your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them, and they will afflict them for 400 years. And also the nation whom they serve I will judge afterwards. They shall come out with great possession. Now as for you, you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried at a good old age, but in the fourth generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. So God's not even foreshadowing. He's straight up telling him, watch. Just watch. You're just going to see it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just telling them, and he like Damien said, he's just using less than the words that we kind of like we would go about, like, well, you got to be ready because it's going to, like, God's like, this is what's going to happen. And it's only because Abraham is ready to take all that in. He wasn't ready whenever he was coming out of his father's house. Imagine him being told at that moment, like, you have your descendants are going to suffer for 400 years. Like, you're not even going to see this. So it has to take a lot of building up, character building for him.
Like whenever, like if it would, it's so different, like him telling him, like at that time, from telling him whenever he's like 9, 8 years old. He would not.
Yeah,
He would have gone crazy, probably. He would be like, ah.
he would. And it's like, for us, imagine if God would have said since the beginning, well, you're going to go from house to house and you're not going to be, you're not going to be comfortable. And um, we wouldn't have said yes to doing anything that we needed to do. Because you're like, oh, I don't think so.
Well, you
Well,
see.
I'd rather not.
All right.
So
That's why God doesn't always tell you the full story sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's why he doesn't. Let me see what else I have. Okay, I have this other stuff for other things. Okay, chapter 16. Chapter 16 is about Hagar and Ishmael. Now, God has promised Abraham a kid. But Sarah has not been able to have a baby. And so she ends up telling Abraham, hey, Abraham, well, I can't give you a kid. Go see if the maid can give you a kid. Go have a kid with the maid, with this person, so that there can be a child. It stood out to me that that Sarah, what did I put down? Sarah or Eve gives Adam the fruit, right? And Sarah gives Adam the maid. Abram. I mean, Sarah gives Abram the maid. And I was like, wait, why? Like, this giving and they're trying to fix a problem. Sarah was here trying to fix the problem of who's going to be the one that inherits, or that one that Abram's kid. And so as humans, we're always trying to fix our problems instead of waiting on God to show up. We're always thinking we can take this, we can handle this. We don't even talk to him and ask him. We're just like, this is how we're going to solve the problem. And we end up creating more mess. We end up creating chaos. Both of these stories created issues between families, and
That ends
so
up with who is it? The maid. What's her name? Hagar. Ends up thinking. Well, in the NIV, the NLV, NLT, my bad.
what?
It says, but when Hagar knew she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress Sarai with contempt. And contempt, I looked it up, and it meant like you treat them less, or you think higher of yourself than them. And so Sarah goes to Abram, and he's like, hey, this is going on.
Yeah, so she has to move. So she leaves because it's too much for the Hagar to, like, she doesn't want to do that anymore. And God, the angel of God meets her at the spring of water, which I'll talk to about in a minute. And says, go back, and I'm going to bless Ishmael. But yeah, we are we are beings that we cannot wait. We don't like to wait for God to act. We feel like if we're waiting, it means we're stuck. And sometimes we are stuck because we're not taking action, but there's other times that we need to actually wait till God does it? Yeah.
That's like trying to grow a regular like farm. You have to wait because if you act too early, you're not gonna have any food.
That what? Can you repeat that?
Like it's like a regular farm. Like if you
Oh my
harvest,
gosh, she's been playing too much Minecraft.
like if you harvest too early, you're not gonna get anything. But if you just wait a bit, you're gonna get things.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have a looting or fortune on your hoe. Right, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And efficiency also helps.
Oh my goodness, that's
Who
Minecraft talk.
insta breaks the stuff though?
Okay, so we have them fixing the problem. Chapter 17 talks, God says, I am Almighty God. He again states who he is, and walk before me and be blameless. Abram falls on his face, and that's a surrender. And so that's when Abram changes the name to Abraham. You're crunching. Your crunching is loud. It says, but your name shall be Abraham, for I have made you a father of many nations. It already is speaking about like in past tense, like it's already been done. And yet we still don't see.
Sometimes we feel like we're not there yet. And God's just reminding, he's like, it's already been done. I already did it.
Yeah.
Why? Because I am Almighty God. Walk before me and be blameless. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly. Isn't God, like, the way he just talks, it's like so cool. It's like the main character.
Well, I don't know how.
Nobody really knows how he talks.
Well, he has different ways of communicating. So he also changes Sarah's name.
To Sarah.
And I think it's important to note that in husband and wife, he changes both their names at the same time. So they're both growing. They're both at the same spot, and they're both becoming what God has.
That's very good in a relationship. I mean, I don't have any experience, but...
Do you have something to tell me, Daniel?
What? No.
And you can also see that there's a change in their way that they're acting and behaving. Chapter 17, verse 17 says, then Abram fell on his face and laughed. And God, God's telling them, hey, soon you'll have a child. And he's like, wait, I'm really old. But he takes it with humor. Like, he's like, huh. Like, not laughing, like mocking, but like, oh my goodness, God's like funny. Like,
that's funny, God.
yeah. And so he there's an easiness in his heart. And I think that's why God's communicating more and more to him. Because he's at that
level.
He's at that stage. I wrote down this is God changed their name when they stopped trying to become who they were promised to be.
That's good.
So they stopped trying to become who they were promised to become. So God had promised them that they were going to be, that he was going to be a great nation and his name was going to be great. And so he's been trying to act like he has it all together. He's trying to like not make the mistakes. He's trying to like be that person.
Now he's falling on his face.
And now God's like, you stop trying to become that. Now you've become that because you stopped trying. You actually, so, I don't know.
You just have to let it be.
So they have, they're going to name their son Isaac, which Isaac means laughter and joy. So that's why Damien's always laughing.
You mean Isaac.
Isaac is always laughing.
Yes.
Okay. Jump into chapter 18.
Wait, hold up. I just want to see. Yeah, let's
The
go.
son of promise. So, well, I think I got, yeah.
Why do people always say Lord God, but not really God Lord?
Because he's the Lord God.
Yeah, but he's also Lord and he's
I
also
don't even
God.
think it said Isaac anyhow yet, and
I don't think it has.
I jumped ahead, but it's fine.
Then why
Yeah,
does
so
it
I
say
already know
son
that.
of promise?
The son of promise is about Isaac, but what I wrote down is chapter 18, verse 4. So it says, "Please let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourself under the tree." And I'm going down this rabbit hole, huge rabbit hole with
Oh, no.
water,
Oh, no.
and the the meaning of water and what it.
She's connecting it to our spirit, like receiving
She made
life,
it.
or like
She
money.
told us to drink out of a glass, like pour the
So
water
let me
from a
tell you this. This is where it's gonna get like crazy good. Genesis, okay. Right here we're seeing that there's water. It's a little bit of water for their feet. And I'm thinking, o sea, we gotta think about this. He's thinking that they are. It says, then the Lord appeared to him. The Lord, and he's like,
Where?
okay, chapter 18, verse 1. It says, then the Lord appeared to him on the terebinth trees at Mount Mamre, as he was sitting in the
Oh, yeah.
tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, three men were standing by him, and when he saw them, he ran from the tent to the door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground. So these are either the angel of the Lord or God, or I don't know, but he says, "My Lord, if I have now found favor in your sight, do not pass on by your servant." But what does he do? He brings them water for their feet. Like, when have you gone to a place and they, instead of offering you water to drink, they're like, "Please put your feet here." Like,
Well, it's because their feet were dirty back then.
I don't. The feet are considered the journey. Like, you're walking.
Well, yeah, because
So
they
he's
wore sandals.
resting.
You
So
take away
he's
the journey.
resting. So Abraham is resting now. He's letting God do, like, he's okay, God, I'm trusting you completely. I'm not working towards like overwhelmed. He's like, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. And so now he's offering them the water for their feet. My thing is that obviously I am a lot into the water, but it's mentioned throughout the whole Bible, water. This part right here is talking about the feet. But we just spoke about Hagar. She was by the spring of water. She was, again, water shown up. So I started doing some research. And in Genesis 1, it talks about water already there. The water's already there when God's hovering over it. So potential, remember we talked about, I don't know if we talked about chaos, but there's
we did.
potential, but there's potential before form. Humans cannot stand on water. Like, water is
I
something.
can.
You cannot stand on
I'll
water.
show you later.
How are you going to stand on water?
I'll float on.
No, you can float. You can't
No.
stand.
No,
I'll
I
stand
can
on
do
water.
it too.
What? Stand on
Look.
water?
So get a tall pool. You float, your head stays above, so your feet are in the middle.
No, but that's
They're on
not.
top of a part of water.
No, but they're not on top.
Look, I'll stand on water right now.
You cannot stand on water.
You want me to do it right now?
Yeah.
All right, hold up.
I gotta see this. Well, no, but could not be contained. It has to be in a swimming pool in an open.
I mean, Jesus did it.
And so God starts the Bible with water to show the dependence, because we can't control it. I mean, water has to have a form. It seeps through anything. It's chapter 14 says spring of water. And it's Hagar's there because she's trying to survive. That's, that's where she sees. And she's like, I guess she's thirsty, obviously, in the desert. And so God meets her there whenever she's at the survival, she needs that. Chapter 18, we see Abraham put water for feet. Feet mean journey. Abraham is resting. That's why water for feet, not survival. He's not surviving anymore. He's resting.
After you get past the survival part,
So
it's rest.
It's
Yeah.
hardcore.
So this is where it gets good. We have in Genesis 1, the Spirit hovering. But what does Jesus do?
Walk on water.
Walk on water.
Jesus walks on water. Jesus, we see the hovering Spirit that's hovering over it. And now Jesus is standing on water.
What did Jesus walk on water for?
He was walking on water towards the
They thought he was a ghost.
disciples.
Oh, right. We did a little Jesus video about that.
God stays present over chaos until it can receive form. So God stays with water in the beginning until it was able to be formed.
He has to keep watching it.
Jesus is presence that is not threatened by chaos. Jesus walks on water, and he's not threatened by anything that the water can the chaos.
What about the crabs?
The disruption. Spirit that once hovered over uniformed waters now walks upon them without being consumed. So I'm seeing patterns and patterns and patterns of stuff that happens in Genesis, how it's being seen in with Jesus in the New Testament, but it's a closing of it. Another thing that it's not in this chapter, but I will point out because I think it's really interesting that I just discovered. Adam and Eve, they what do they do as soon as they eat the fruit?
Hide. Clothe themselves.
Clothe themselves. So they clothe themselves because they don't want to be seen. And what do humans do whenever they do something? They hide. Right? We hide. God comes out and he clothed them in skins. He clothes them because he's not shaming them. He's like, I see you. But here you go. This is better. But if we go into the New Testament, what happens with Jesus? He gets stripped down. His clothes are taken away. He's seen. So that's like a whole circle. Clothes clothes are being taken. Clothes are being put on because we are afraid to be seen. And then we have Jesus who is saying, hey, it's safe to be seen. It's okay for you to carry everything that you have. It's okay. And so anyways, back to this chapter. So water removes illusion of self-sufficiency. I went down this whole thing about water.
We should do like a little thing to try with the water on our feet. We should do like a mini water bath.
We should.
I mean, it doesn't really work anymore because there's not really long journeys on foot anymore. I mean,
no, but it's not even. I think it's more symbolic. Feet are what takes you places. And
you even need feet to drive.
Well, yeah, you need your feet are what the journey, and it's not you're walking, but it's what takes you places. When Jesus is put on that cross, his The nails are driven through his feet, symbolizing
He can't move.
you can't move. It has to stay put.
What
I-
is Continue.
I think that it's not about precisely the moving around. It's the being okay with not moving around. It's that nervous system reset. If we take it to the nervous system, it's a nervous system reset that you are okay with not doing. And I think that when Abraham at this point is able to stand still and be okay with rest and be okay with he's probably not just sitting down. He probably has sheep to tend. He probably has all these things to do, right? Crops to plant and all this. But he's okay. And that's what water symbolizes. There's several tests that I'm working on right now, several water tests that I want to try out, because water has a lot of water. Your body cannot fake. Your body cannot hide states of being or what it's feeling or what is really going on with you with water. And that's where the receiving life is. Water, once you gulp it down, enters your system, and you know right away, can you receive? Can you not? What does your
What
body
happens
do?
when you can't receive anymore?
No, when you can't receive, that's where you see in my field of what I'm doing right now, the money, if you can't receive water, which is given to you, which is something that God that was seen over and over, when you can't do it, then you're not going to see money come into your life. When there's so many things that I'm studying right now, but it's really interesting how water has that ability to really expose anything in you. And throughout the Bible, we see the flood with water. We see Jesus walking on water. We see the Israelites walk through water. Water keeps popping up. He doesn't use other elements. I mean, he uses other elements, fire and stuff. But whenever he's trying to reset, when he's trying to change and he's trying to guide or say something or do something, it's with water. You get baptized in water. You get the woman of the well is in the water. When he talks to this guy about if he wants to be okay, if he wants to be healed, it's by water.
Moses parted the water.
Moses parted the
water is like a checkpoint, kind of.
It's
like a new world.
It's what exposes where you're at. And I think the Bible is so much more than just these stories, and it's actually a system that was created for us, and water has been in it for every time, but we have not paid attention to it. Now, yes, Damien, you mentioned I'm asking you guys to drink from a glass of water because the container where water is at has a lot to do with it. If you drink water from those water bottles that are plastic, you are not even acknowledging that you're receiving water, because they're made for if the rim is too thick or the rim is too close, because we're not going to go into this really deep into this conversation, into this Bible study.
I think we already have.
No, but because we can go it's a huge topic. But because of how the top is shaped, you just drink water unconsciously. It's meant to be drank fast, drank without even paying attention to it. So you just drink it and not even find flavor of it. You can't savor it. You can't.
I think it also has to do with how the water, the cup / bottle is made. Glass is made by heating up sand so hot that you take sand, which is dull and like not shiny, and you turn it into something where you can literally see yourself in it, and it's just like hard, and
Isn't it,
this is just chemicals.
Yes.
isn't it crazy that one of the main ways to drink water, or one of the second main ways to drink water, or somewhere in the main ways to drink water, is actually made with fire.
What do you mean?
Like, glass is made with fire.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, because of that, you drink it fast, you don't savor it. But if you put it, and I think you mentioned it right now. Well, you didn't mention it directly, but you said that glass is made through this and that. But if a cup is heavy, like the more glass it has, the more grounded you are. And so when you're holding it,
You're holding sand right now. You're
You're-
holding heated sand.
yeah. But I mean grounded, like the more supported you are. So the heavier a mug is, the more your nervous system says I am supported now. That's how those are things
What do
that
you mean supported?
like the more you feel like you're being held by someone. When you so you get a mug of water and it's a heavy mug and you drink of it.
First of all, mugs are made of ceramic, not.
Okay, well, I kind of
Cups,
it
yeah.
reminded me of it. But there's some glasses that are heavier.
They feel just more good. They feel better.
Well, that's the thing. If you have a heavy mug and you drink water out of it, that mug, if your nervous system, if your body is telling you put that mug away or it's too heavy, it's uncomfortable, then you have I don't want to say issues, but you have
You have issues.
your nervous system doesn't know how to be held or how to be supported. So you have trust issues. Like you don't trust that God has you. You don't trust
So-
that.
If you buy the world's heaviest mug and you think it's too heavy, you don't.
Well, I think it's uncomfortable. That's the thing. It's not about heaviness. It's about being uncomfortable.
You need to find the perfect weight that's just a bit heavy.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
Also, on the flavor thing, water doesn't really have a flavor.
It does.
Well, it depends
If
on
When
the
you're
temperature.
thirsty,
On the temperature. True.
It depends on how you take it in. And so like if you take water from a glass of wine, like those glasses, what do you do with water? Like
drink it
but how do you drink it? Do you gulp it? Or do you slowly drink
in
it?
a wine glass.
And so it all depends on how your mouth opens, how you gulp it, how it goes down, how you savor it. All these things expose something inside of you.
So drinking through a straw could also do something different.
Drinking from a straw disconnects you from source, from water.
Hmm.
So you don't really notice it.
Reach.
You don't really like pay attention to it. Drinking while you're driving, drinking while you're doing something else.
Drinking water, guys.
Anyways, that's a huge topic, but
And
We're
just to
not-
add to that, I think it also, what kind of water you have. Have you ever drank water from a river compared to like a lake, compared to like the fridge?
But I think again it goes back to how you're drinking it because at a
Also-
river you're like using your
Or
hands
at a lake,
or you're
sometimes
like
you'll just like get down, laying down.
Yeah.
And see,
Sometimes, like you can. I feel like whenever you're drinking from like tap water or not tap water, but fridge water, like that comes out of the fridge, and whenever you're drinking from a glass bottle and putting it into a glass cup, it's just different the experience of getting it kind of too.
yeah.
anyways, enough on water.
One last thing before we jump on. Whenever they say like you speak into water, it's not necessarily, I mean, because water they say that water remembers things, but it's that water communicates everything throughout your body. And when you pause and you speak into water, it's about you changing the state of how you are so that when water comes in, it multiplies what you are because it's carrying that message across to everything in your body. But if you're not even taking the time to do that, I mean, whatever, if you're angry, whatever water's coming in, it's multiplying that throughout your whole body. But if you're grateful, you take those 2-3 seconds before you drink water.
Next time I'm angry or sad or anything, or like happy, I'll drink water and I'll pay attention to how I feel compared to other times.
Don't drink water when you're angry, guys.
Yeah, don't drink it. Don't drink it.
Unless you're experimenting.
But anyways, yeah, I
Drink
will have to have
soda.
an episode directly about water and how it affects and why the Bible has all these water things.
Look for the title, just water.
Just water. I like that.
No, like it's just the word water.
Oh, just the word water. I like that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so let's continue on to 18 because we're about to finish because we
This is
didn't
the
get
last
much more.
chapter?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sarah laughs. They come visit them. The angel of the Lord visits them and tells them that they're gonna have a kid. Sarah laughs, but she's again with this different attitude of like, just like, oh yeah, okay. And so they have let me see what I put down for.
Why did Sarah deny that she laughed?
Wait, what part are y'all on? Because I kind of lost y'all.
18, 15.
18, 15? Okay, yeah.
Sarah laughs.
And then she denies it and she's like, I didn't laugh. And then the angel is like, no, but you did laugh. It says, for she was afraid.
You don't think, I think I don't even think I got after. Yeah, I didn't finish chapter 18 now that I think about it. Yeah, she denies it. She denies it. I don't know. I guess she was probably hesitant or
It says, for she was afraid. But the verse before that says,
can you imagine arguing with the angel of the Lord?
is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will return to you according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, no, but you did laugh.
I don't know. I guess.
If anybody argue with them, they'll just always be right.
But I think it's that idea that we can be afraid and we can continue on,
You just shouldn't lie.
well, we've seen lying over and over, and we know it's a human character. It's something that.
And an angel thing.
An angel thing?
The devil. I mean, the fallen angel. He lied.
Yeah. So we know that God knows, that obviously we are going to be we are going to lie, and it's like, hey, do not be afraid. Like sometimes God will tell us something crazy that we're called to do, and we're going to be like, yeah, right. Like, no, we're not. We're not ready for that. So
I don't think so.
I did not finish chapter 18, so I don't have much on that.
We'll have to pick that up next time.
Why don't we just pick up the whole Bible? It's not that heavy.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else to add?
No, I think this was a lot of good information.
Yes, especially the water thing.
Yes, the
We
water
need
thing
to
was
make
really
a
good.
pot,
I
like
told you it was gonna be
like a
good.
whole video. What was your part? What you said? You've been making us wait for this Bible study for what?
For the water and for the part that Abraham goes back, and the fact that it's us going back, and it's that it's not that we're going backwards. We're just going back to be catapulted, and
She made us wait a whole week just to tell us that.
yeah, because I couldn't
Not
tell
just
you.
to tell us that, but like to tell us that because that was the longest week ever.
And she tells us that like the day after we recorded.
I know.
Well, anyways,
Yeah, because it gets good. So we'll try to move. We'll try to see how fast we move with this.
If you noticed something that we didn't and you'd like to point it out, leave it in the comments.
If you want to add some of your own notes, just
Yeah.
put it in the comments too. And make sure to add like what verse area it is, so
Yes.
that way we can understand it.
Let us know what you rate this Bible study.
A 5.
A 5
Out of?
5-star review.
5.
Oh, okay.
Listen to the Mom and Kid Show on Spotify and YouTube. Visit Faith Money Families for resources for your family.
FaithMoneyFamily.com.
It is the 7 Streams Cash Flow website. Go watch our other videos. Go watch our other Bible study. Until then, anything else, guys?
They should have already watched our first episode.
Yeah, y'all should have. I mean, I don't know what y'all are doing. But until then, this has been the Mom and Kid Show. And we will see you at the table.